I mean, when you have Hiroshi Kamiya voicing one of your main characters, Kakashi, I mean, you're in for a good time. You're in for a good time. This show has actually been one I've been really excited for, and it's kind of weird because usually a show with just any sort of comedy description, I never really look at and say, oh, that's going to be bad or that's going to be outstanding. It's just like, it's probably going to be fine at the very least and maybe pretty good at best. But there's something about the premise of a father who has a job where he's a mangaka, but he draws vulgar manga, both with words and just actions and things like that, and how he has this daughter who he very much wants to, he wants to be a good role model. He doesn't want to teach her that being a pervert basically is where she wants to be in life. So he tries his best to hide his career as this innocent Hime is just either picking up on clues or at least he doesn't want her to be able to pick up on, or she's just completely oblivious. And I have to say, the first episode was a blast to follow. I mean, not only did the voice actors just really get into their role, whether it was Kakashi with his just overreactions, his just outlandish behavior of how he, not only just visually on a, directing level, they went all in to make it feel as just ridiculous as possible. His voice actor equally did so they definitely casted him 100% correctly. But Hime as well, she has these moments where she is just so clueless to what the adults around her are saying, but she is just such an innocent girl. To then you'll have a scene where they're basically in a Starbucks and, her friends are saying how this is like a witch's lair and they're drinking this devil's brew, and she just keeps trying to pop up saying, that's actually just a Starbucks, but she gets cut off before she can actually name drop. This show has great comedic direction. It's definitely going to be a show where after probably half the episode, but at the very worst, by the end of the first episode, you're going to know if the comedy's going to be for you. This isn't one where I think it's going to shock you with like episode 4. It's going to show you a completely different style. I feel like this is probably what's going to happen. I mean, I've already seen people get worried like we're going to get a Somali in the Forest spirit where the dad's going to die at the end because when she's 18, she discovers his secret. And it looks like, it was locked up as if, her dad passed away and now she finally saw that. Even if that is the case, I mean, that happens when she's 18 and she looks like she's less than 8 here. So, I mean, we got some time before probably something really, really bad happens, if it even does happen. But this is most definitely a comedy series, and I was a little skeptical at first going into this show. I mean, anytime I read, like, father and daughter or just like sibling relationships, I'm like, okay, are they going to go hentai with it, or are they just not going to get the relationship to feel compelling enough to actually follow? But I heard a lot of good things about people who've read the source material, and honestly, this relationship is great. I mean, we don't really know what happened to the mother as of yet, either if they're separated or she died, but right now it's clearly a father and daughter, and I love just how far he goes to keep a secret. And I think that's one of the brilliance of comedy series, where you can have such a simple idea on paper and say, logically, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. You can just say, I'm the parent, just don't ask questions. There's so many ways to avoid, or even just, spice it up so it doesn't look as bad as it currently is. But this man will just go on the longest walks. He'll put on a business suit, make it look like he's a professional man, go up here, down here, then change, and then he's in his basically grimy clothes so he can go draw his manga. It's like, that is amazing. I mean, this is a show that, yeah, you could definitely see the gimmick getting old eventually, but it's not one that I think you're going to feel if you enjoyed episode 1, at least in this season, or maybe even a season 2 if we get it. Because it definitely feels to me there's so many ways, not only just with the daughter and father relationship, but just the characters in general. You have Hime's friends who are cute in themselves. I mean, they have like this whole idea of like, oh my god, someone saved the cat, we gotta find this. And then they start saying, oh, we gotta go up here. And then Hime's like, oh, well, my dad told me there's a monster up here. Oh, that's just silly. But because the teacher knows of the dad's profession, she kind of plays it up so they won't go up there, but then they still do, right? So you get these like just adorable childish moments, but then you also have just the people working alongside the father, and you just have either fans or just, people being like shaking their head like, I was just wearing this damn shirt to make you happy, as the father is freaking out like, how dare you wear one of my vulgar creations in front of my daughter. There just is so much potential, and I'm glad they're not sticking to like one location or one set of characters, like it's just going to be the daughter and father, or it's just going to be the children's friends, things like that. No, definitely has a wide variety of cast of characters to work off of, meaning I don't think the formula should grow stale, because everyone clearly will have a gimmick or a little quirk to their personality that is going to be charming. And if you only focused on that quirk, yeah, that could grow stale eventually, maybe even by the halfway mark of a season. But having as many characters as they have, not really putting the focus on like, okay, we're going to see this crazy character development, we're going to watch them go through this emotional high of an arc. No, this is, they're making manga, they're doing this, they're going to butt heads like colleagues would, as you also have these adorable moments where, she'll be like, oh, I just want my daddy to be successful. He'll look at that being like, oh god, she thinks I'm a failure, but she really is just kind of taking what people around school said, and it's like, oh, yeah, I want my dad to be successful too. It just is wholesomely adorable, but so hilarious. Like, the directing and how they just completely go overboard with just... Honestly, Kakushi is just a madman. I love how he reacts, because anytime something feels like, oh god, this will expose how much of a sick bastard I am, and really he's not even that sick to begin with, but it's just hilarious because when his daughter was born, one of the people who helped deliver the baby recognized his creation. He's like, never again. I just like, that's the type of shit you love to see. But it's nice to see how he does completely go overboard. It's a very classic anime directing style for its comedy of just like going so overboard. You're just seeing just either pain or just, hilariousness from the body reactions. It's definitely a very expressive series, and I'm really happy with the voice acting choice across the board, because with how extreme the directing can be and how the reactions from both facial to just the overall body reactions of like slumped on the ground to just completely ready to explode, it feels like it was just a perfect casting choice overall. And if they can keep this level of production across the board for the entire season, it's going to be a hilarious show that definitely won't be forgotten in a season's time, because it's a show where you definitely do see a lot of family stories and even see a decent amount of comedy around the family, but I think the idea of just wanting to be like, you feel like you gotta be the best you can be for your little girl, and you kind of feel like you're not, but you also enjoy creating what you are creating, and it's just this mixture of like, most likely when she's 18, she opens up the door that we see in the episode, she discovers what she is, she'll probably be inspired, like, oh, my dad was actually pretty cool, he's a little twisted, but I mean, aren't we all? So yeah, I want to be a manga too. Like, that's probably how it would go down, but it's understandable why you would be like, okay, maybe I gotta keep this a secret until she's a little older, because I don't want her to, just look at me like, I am just some horrible person or something like that. It's just great to see how they direct it, and I had a blast watching. I mean, there was something interesting I noticed, and you can let me know if you agree with this in the comments. A lot of the more like simplistic scenes, especially focused on her friends, Hime's friends, I noticed the soundtrack, it really did remind me of Nan Nan Biori, which was just little kids kind of like exploring their town, and it was one of the most innocent and peaceful shows that I've ever seen. And I really liked that, because the music, while it didn't dominate the episode, there was a couple of points where I was like, that is the perfect score. And if that's a good representation of what we can hear in this season, I think we're going to have a fun time. I mean, my favorite character is most definitely the father as of right now, but I mean, the daughter is a very close second. I mean, their blend is just absolute absurdity, and it's so precious, and then you kind of want to be like him, be like, oh no, we got to keep it a secret, but then the logical side's like, well, I mean, it's not the biggest deal, just say, hey, I'll explain further when you're older, you don't have to give all the details, but I understand the fear. But I'm really excited to see more of the side cast, because there's a lot of people working alongside him or just helping to keep the secret. And I think it's going to be amazing to see more and more characters just try to either expose the secret or just like poke the bear or try to keep it a secret. Because it was nice to see how like the teacher played into it and things like that. I don't know, there's just a lot of potential, and I think it's just hilarious to see like adult characters like poke at him being like, why don't you be a better person? Why don't you make something like Attack on Titan, which the reference game in this episode was on point. I mean, just with what he would change his shirt into, to just seeing just really funny versions of manga and series that I actually really like. The reference game was on point, but I mean, I love how even when you're not getting full-on references, you can have characters cut it off before they name drop and, get sued or something like that. The show is just so good. I mean, I'm really excited to see more. It's one of those shows that usually you would want to binge, but for me, a good week-by-week experience, I think, is something to keep the mood in the right atmosphere, at least for myself, so I'm really excited to watch more. It was just one of those episodes that just at every moment I was just really grinning. I mean, it starts off, it's pretty wacky, it's pretty wild, and then by the time you end the episode, you're just like, or at least I know for me, I'm just like, I want to see more. I want to see what you're going to do next. And that's a fun feeling, because I think it's good to have one or two shows a season that are just supposed to make you laugh and just enjoy the absurdity. And I think this is definitely going to be one for me. It's one that I think I do want to review weekly. Maybe it won't get super long reviews every single week. Maybe it'll be a shorter series that I review in the long run. But I'll definitely be interested in hearing if you guys want to see more reviews on this show, because I definitely enjoyed watching episode 1 and had a fun time reviewing it. So hopefully people enjoy watching and all of that as well. I have to mention, the opening and ending songs, perfect fit for a show like this. Definitely don't think I'm going to be skipping them. Maybe the ending song, just because I skip ending songs a lot more, but opening song definitely is one that, I don't know, it's a perfect feel for me. At least that's how I'm feeling. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on episode 1, and what did you think of the comedy, and what was your favorite gimmick? Starbucks for me was definitely mine. Do let me know. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.